got is 100 times of what the Rasikas we had on that day. It has got, we have also uploaded in the YouTube. We found there has been many people reacting to it and appreciating that work. So that way, I think it's an excellent program. And Mr. Ravikiran is eminently positioned to answer this, chair this question, this topic, because he has had the maximum international exposure in exchanging with various types of music, but still remaining to the roots of Carnatic music. He has had the privilege of learning from Chitravina Narasimhan, then Balamurli, and people like DKP, R.K. Srikantan, Chemmangudi, and who not. He has learned from everybody, and that way is very steadfast in our Carnatic system of music. I'm very happy that the second edition is today, and I'm handing over the mics to you. Thank you.
Namaskarams and greetings to all of you. It's always a pleasure to share views on these kind of topics with interested students and listeners. As I have always mentioned, there is no such thing as a destination when somebody seeks perfection. Perfection is never a destination, it's only a journey. So, in the course of this journey, we see so many things, we learn from so many things, we meet so many people, we are enriched by our observations and our own analysis of various things. So, it's an ongoing process at all times. As Sri R.K. just mentioned, I got numerous students and musicians, professional musicians, as well as students and gurus, either mailing me, emailing, or calling on the phone and discussing some of the topics that they saw on YouTube, which was beautifully uploaded by Soumya Acharya of Acharya Net. And they were asking a lot of pertinent questions, some of which I'm trying to include in today's topic, and a lot of others that anybody wants to discuss, I'll try and answer them. I like to make this as interactive as possible so that anything that is of any significant or even minute doubt should not be carried forward. So it should be really clarified. My father, who is my guru, has always been an exemplary musician in that regard. Even if I used to wake him up at some 1:30 in the night to ask some doubt, he would immediately not say, okay, go to sleep, we'll see tomorrow. He would immediately go down, or he will answer me, or if the question was more obscure, he would go down, check his books, and then only when we both finally discussed the answer satisfactorily, we would go back to sleep. This is when I was about 2 or 3 years old. So, so it has always been that kind of a journey for us. Some of these things that I say can always sound very obvious to a lot of people. But even in my last lecture on this subject, I made the point that it's very easy to miss the obvious. In fact, it's more easy to miss something obvious than something that is obscure, because we'll make less effort on the obvious things. We take the obvious for granted. So more mistakes are possible in a lot of common sense things. And I have found in my experience as a listener as well that some of the ragas that we think are rare, or we find them rare, we always assume them to be difficult because they are rare. In fact, many rare ragas are very easy to handle. And because we think that it's a rare raga, we think it's difficult, then we end up making a lot of what can be called in tennis parlance as unforced errors. Many of these errors that I'm talking about, they are not really a product of something that is complicated at all. So many times the simple things, it's just a clarity of thought and a clear understanding and a clear memorization of what is different between very, very similar ragas. So when you are looking at this, some magazines used to come out with spot the 10 differences in very similar looking paintings. So it's a visual exercise that you see in so many magazines and so many comic books also. So that's the same thing with the ear. We have to do that. When we are looking at, say, ragas like, say, Saraswati Manohari and Kokiladhvani, they are definitely very similar, because Sari Gama Dasa Sadani Pamagaresa Sari Gama Dani Dasa Sani Dani Pamagaresa or Sari Gama Dasa Sani Dani Pamagaresa. So Sadanipa versus Sani Danipa is what makes that Kokiladhvani or Saraswati Manohari. Saraswati Manohari is Sadanipa. Yanta Vedu Kundu Raghava. So there we have to make sure that it is only Sadanipa. And in Kokiladhvani, Sani Danipa, we have to remember. Now, what I have seen generally happen, there are several types of mistakes that is possible. I have still not sat around classifying all the types of mistakes, because literally, if you were to analyze it, there are a million ways in which we can do something wrong. Only a few ways in which we can actually do it right. So, and we can always write volumes about why we bungled on a particular thing. And the common things that, common reasons why certain mistakes are done, in some cases at least, is that now between ragas which are closely aligned, we'll tend to make mistakes in a raga that is weaker in that group. And we'll tend to sing a raga closer to the stronger raga in a particular group. Now I'll give an example to explain this. If you take Saurashtra, Bhairavam, both are Janyam of Suryakantam. The mistakes we'll make in Saurashtra will be closer to that of Suryakantam, which is the parent raga. We'll be singing right from Shri Ganapatini to Pavamana. Saurashtra is sung wrong. Shri Ganapatini Sevyam Parare Gamapadani. It's a totally wrong phrase. The same thing we use even in Mangalam. This kind of things, Gamapadanisa. This Gamapadanisa we do more as a combination of Suryakantam and Chakravakam. So Saurashtra is rendered generally like that because of the personality of that Sampurna Raga is drawing us to that, gravitating us to that. Now between Saurashtra and Bhairavam, Saurashtra is a stronger personality because it's more popular, more people know it. So when they sing Bhairavam, they'll tend to sing it a bit like Saurashtra. So you see the point. So, this song is there by Tyagaraja. Now, after Tyagaraja, Patnam Subramaniar came and composed Ninnu Juchi with similar kind of start. Ninu jochi dhan. So, Ninu jochi. So, you start like that, and then from there, Manopayavade Maya. We do this in Bhairavam, this Mada and all that we'll tend to do a lot of times. It sounds very beautiful because we are used to that Saurashtra's personality, and so even when we think that in Bhairavam, most people won't realize that we are freely getting into the territory of Saurashtra without a valid visa. So it sounds aesthetic, it sounds beautiful. So it's a lot of artists have actually started using that point to do elaborate, almost Sanchari kind of development in that, the Charanam in Maryada Gadaya. So when we do that, we forget that Bhairavam is actually a very simple, straightforward raga. That's all Bhairavam is. Even though it's rare, there is nothing complicated about Bhairavam. There is no ni in Avarohanam. So when we sing that Bhairavam, we have to make sure that Sada is used in the descent. So, Maria all these phrases are there which have been used in Bhairavam. Those are to be avoided and just replaced by Sani Sada. If you just do that, it's very easy. Maria Manopayavade Maya Mariadaga We have to make sure that that sa, the second sa, is given a stress so that there is no confusion, ambiguity of it being confused with ni over there. Sariga magare sa Sariga mada padani sada pamagare padani sada pamagare Manopayavade Maya We should not do that. Sometimes I just give a gap and then play only just to emphasize that. And when we do kalpana swarams also, we have to carry forward the same thing. So the whole song is a beautiful exercise for me, because I used to, the moment I heard this, I would be enchanted by, say, Rajaratnam Pillai or M.L. Vasantakumari or all these great masters singing Maryada Gadaya. Of course, there is no doubt about whatever they sang, it will still sound like honey and nectar to any listener because of their polish, the way they would present it. But still, if you looked at it from an ordinary artist, when I played it, I wouldn't be able to play it as well as they played or sang. So obviously, I had to at least make it grammatically reasonably good to present it. So this was the challenge. So my rules are generally not for geniuses. They are not for the great stars. They are only for the ordinary people who want to actually try to do something good. And at the same time, as I have made this point even before, I like to re-emphasize that making something technically better only adds to it, and it will never detract from it. It can never detract the beauty. Actually, it will actually make it something beautiful. It will make it more beautiful. Now, the beauty of mobile text language, where we use all kinds of spellings in English, right? So when we do that, we cannot really say that is it's an innovation compared to what Shakespeare wrote or Charles Dickens wrote, or even recent other authors are writing in every book. We cannot say that this way is the way now. So same thing with ragas. So we have to be very, very careful that we do not start glorifying something that is inherently, we just take it as a functional thing. Okay, it's easier to text some short forms and this and that, blah, blah. Okay, fine. That's all. So that context should be understood. So similarly, when we look at these grammar oriented things, perfect grammar is only going to enhance the beauty of the raga. If you are going to be singing a raga wrong, that's not actually beauty at all. Beauty should not be confused with something. Poetic license should never be cite it. I made some of these points last time, I do remember, but I am still making it because they cannot be emphasized enough. So, when we do this Maryada Gadaya, we have to be very careful in all aspects of it. So, all these ways you can easily sing very beautifully this raga. So the raga offers a tremendous scope, in fact more scope than when you are trying to give an artificial zigzag to it. So that is to reiterate that point of how stronger ragas propel us to make some mistakes.